All right, we are live. What's going on, everybody? Let me get this tweeted out right here. There we go. All right, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. It was a little bit choppy today. You know, not gonna kid around here. I mean, the SPX. Let's take a look. Let's go down to the daily just tells it all. I mean, we've got a if my daily would show up here. Here we are. There we are, and we gapped down and continued down for a little bit until we had a bit of a reversal. So inside day today too, very narrow range, 11 points, 11.22, 1122 on the SPX. So we haven't seen that narrow range of days since, gosh, that looks even narrower, doesn't it? But that was 14. This guy here was 13. 19. 20. I mean, we're gonna go back a while here for here we go. That's got to be it. No, 18. It just looks crazy, you know. But 26. Let's see. So this has been the narrowest range day since forever. 30. How are these like 32? These, I guess, I don't know. The scale's a little bit off. Really, 56 range day. Goodness gracious. Anyway, so it's been a long time, right? It's been like well over a few months since we've had such a narrow range day. So. You know what they say, from contraction leads to expansion, right? So would expect some sort of move. Obviously, futures are gapping up or are pushing up pretty significantly right now. Let's take a look at the S&P futures, up 750 already. So let's see if that. But it's not great. It went right into this Fibonacci fan line. So. And it's kind of within the cloud. So just the last hour, you know, had looks like what was this? Yeah, this last hour had like a big push up here, and then really kind of came off of it. Now we've got a few reversal signals coming in off of that. Let's take a look at the 15. 15 is interesting. It's at sort of like this this inflection point here in the cloud. We've talked about that in our cloud review. Usually implies some sort of change going on, right? So we're touching into that right here, so we'll see if that ends up deciding to reverse to the downside. But it is looking pretty bullish right now, so we'll give it some time. Again, we've got the fib fan line, and we've got this line right here, which is, let me just see which one that corresponded to later. Yeah, it was just a I think I was just showing an example recently of a you know, like a top or something, or a level line. So yeah, so we'll see how that continues there. So SPX in general, just, you know, state of the market type stuff. SPX, you know, on the daily, let's go to the bar chart and see how that's looking. So as we know, we traveled up this whole channel through 2018, right? Towards the end of the year, right? We started, you know, had a huge move down, ABC2. We thought we had a wave 3 and then a possible wave 4 and then continuing down. The large pitchfork of the year pivoted off of that, and now we're up at the top of this pitchfork, the same pitchfork right here, and we're starting to pivot, right? And usually when we get a pivot off of a pitchfork, a main pitchfork line, right, we move, right? And so we're pivoting here, which I thought was about a wave 5 up, you know, a sub wave 5 up, so wave 5 of 5. So this pretty much to me seemed like the end of it. Now I thought we'd get to 28.20, but we didn't. It ended up being like 28.11, and kind of reversing off of that. So not really sure. You know, I kind of have an ABC, you know, type potential going on here, but we'll see. It might. I don't even know if this is a full triangle yet. It's just kind of just showing the consolidation right here. So you know, it could be pretty interesting. Let me remove that because that is I believe that was a bull flag. That don't know if that really worked out too well, but anyway, we'll see how far this the futures hang overnight. If you know, if they end up coming back in, you know, we could see the mid of this other pitchfork right here, about like 27.44. You know, tomorrow's Friday, so just pay attention to your options. Let me just actually write a note of that too. Okay. Yeah, so just keep an eye on your options tomorrow for lotto plays and stuff like that. That theta is gonna, you know, burns really quickly on Friday. Another interesting thing about tomorrow is it's the first of the month. So let's just take a look at the monthly chart and just kind of see what's going on here. Yeah, so remember we had inside month in January, right? And we took that up, and that after we broke that inside month to the upside, that kind of gave us that continuation, that this sort of bullish move all through the rest of the month. And again, we kind of came off the top of that pitchfork and kind of back in a little bit. So we'll see how the month wants to end. So we'll, or this is the end of the month, so we'll see how we're basically at a spinning top month, kind of in a, kind of an indecisive range, right? We just broke into the channel. We're not quite halfway into it, but we're at a lot of like resistance lines. So we'll see how this spinning top holds up going into March. So it's pretty interesting stuff there. So keep an eye on that. If you guys trade, particular stocks, please, do take a look at your monthly chart, see if there's anything interesting. I mean, we could, if this stays up for us, we could go through the fangs right now, right? So Facebook ended up with, even with its earnings, best earnings ever, gave us a, bit of a compressed, but, shooting star to take out the highs of the prior month and kind of coming back in. Also could be a pause month. Hammer month on the on Apple. I mean, didn't really get much follow through on it. The Amazon closed with a probably its narrowest range month ever. Only 106 points. Wait, no, here we had. Sorry, guys. Here was one right here. All right, so it wasn't the most ever, but inside month doji month, which is you really don't see too much of. So very indecisive month for Amazon. It makes it a double inside month on Amazon. So I've got quite a few alerts on this, but I would keep an eye mostly. I'll deal with those later. But anyway, keep an eye on Amazon, double inside month. So that's pretty interesting. Yorikiri bar, potential continuation bar here on Netflix. Nvidia. Inside bar, key reversal bar right here, so you might actually see some downside move on Nvidia. And Google has just been really weird recently. For me, it's just been kind of doing nothing. It's kind of chopping around, and so I guess you could call this a monthly congestion zone right here. And we had a doji month. We got above the prior month for a bit, and then it's kind of dojied in right there. So we'll see how that holds up. So keep an eye on your favorite stocks, and look at your monthlies, see how they did. Here's Tesla. The low there was 288. Right now it's gapping down 10 points to 309 after his awesome new news. Apparently the market didn't take it too well, especially when he basically said he's going to be losing more money. So and then he's closing a bunch of stores, and so it's like, how good is this really? But anyway, so keep an eye on that inside month. The breakdown there to the downside is 288. So if the market really pressures to the downside, Tesla to the downside, that's a potential target and also a potential break, which could then get you down to 279, and could eventually get to the monthly cloud if it really wanted to. AMD. Same type of stuff. So yeah, just pull up your favorite, charts on the monthlies and just kind of see if there's any cool candlestick setups on the monthlies. So speaking of candlesticks, today, I'm going to go back to Tesla here. Today I wanted to talk about deliberation candlestick setups, right? Deliberation bar candlestick setups. So what's a deliberation bar? A deliberation bar basically is one that says, it's deliberating, right? It's thinking about whether it's going to go up, whether it's going to go down. And typically it basically forms, it might not necessarily reverse right off of it, but it indicates that there's a reversal coming. And so let's just kind of take a look at today. This is not a true deliberation bar, but it kind of sets you up for it, right? So a deliberation bar, normally you have two big green bars, right? The last bar would probably look more like the first bar here, where you have a high upper wick, right? Upper shadow. And then the final bar, right, is usually a smaller real body and shows indecision. Okay, so this is not quite a deliberation bar, but it's a very similar setup, right? So you had green bar followed by a huge green bar, followed by another green bar, but got really weak at the top there, right? So what really happened here is we had the, and thanks to Option Virus for pointing this out, had a hanging man pattern. And so this is can be the end of an uptrend, right? So we have big green bar, small real body bar, and this one happens to be a hanging man. And so you kind of look to see like some follow through, some continuation. A lot of times you look for a continuation bar too after hanging man. So maybe obviously tomorrow we're going to gap down. We'll be here at 3:0. Wow, it's kind of far down. So we'll be here. So see what it does. It might kind of come up a little bit and put in like a maybe an inverted hammer type thing. Then you might see some real continuation at the downside. It might not all happen in one day, right? But it could continue. So that kind of gives you a prequel to the deliberation bar. I found a couple that were because Tesla really likes to move and put in big bars, and it's been even moving a lot, when all the other FANG stocks have been doing nothing. So back in August 22nd. there was a good one, right? So these are not super common, right? But they're once you catch it, if you see two big bars, right, followed by kind of like a pause bar, you could expect some sort of reversal eventually, right? So it's not like one of those instantaneous type candlestick patterns, right? These are kind of like a swing pattern, you just kind of gotta have some confidence in your in the setup itself. So right here on August 20th. Right, we led into the deliberation bar right here. So what happened is we had a big green bar, right, followed by another green bar, but not, but it kind of, calmed down. Like the real body is not as big as the first one, right? This is a perfect example, okay? And then you had this upper shadow here, right? So, and right into the daily cloud too. So you got resistance up here, and the high upper wicks. What that means, right, is that like it couldn't get that full continuation, right? So it gave you that spinning top. So the bears were able to fight off this resistance right here. And so even though it was a bullish bar, right, there was this wick right here kind of shows you, that kind of weakness in that area. And this right here is your deliberation bar right here. This one means like, hey, maybe this trend is over, right? And it's kind of interesting, right? Whenever like you see something moving, you have like a huge move up, big green bar. That's like where a lot of people just want to jump in, right? Especially retail, type traders, right? They're like, oh man, everything's really bullish, I want to get in, and then they get slammed by this because they don't have the tools that we have, right? We know that there's a cloud right here, right? We know our candlestick setup. So what we see is that we couldn't break over the high of the prior wick. It came back in a little bit, and look, it was a very small green body right here, right? Which means there wasn't a lot of momentum, right, in this bar. And look where it closed. It closed right near the top of this. This is a classic deliberation bar right here. So what that means here is like, okay, look, stay tuned for a potential reversal, right? So this is one of those ones where you could do, like a vertical swing and maybe even target like the bottom of this. So you could have done like let's say like a 290 vertical, from 320, right? I mean, most people would be like, oh, with this huge move up, how could you expect it to go down? Well, I mean, if you did like a monthly, put spread or something like that, those are the type of put spreads that could really work, right? And so look what happened here, right? So this would have been scary this next day, right? So let's say you put on a put spread right here, you're like, yeah, that's forming a deliberation bar. I want to place out, I mean, you don't have to put on the call, you could still watch these things play out like the next day. That's why it's important to focus on only like a short number, kind of a short list of stocks, right? I have a big watch list here, but I mostly focus on the FANG and the SPX, right? And so you start to see these candlestick patterns, and a lot of you guys are really doing a great job, Justin. I mean, everybody is like doing fantastic, like starting to see like how, the psychology of the bars, right? And seeing what's happening. So anyway, here you see this setup, right? You see this going on. So the next day, you don't necessarily have to trade there, but you look to see how it handles this resistance, right? And so so what happened here, right? What do we get? We got a shooting star pattern, right? And it took out this, this and this. I mean, so this was an inside bar too. So tried to break the upside and failed and kind of came back in, right? And Tesla's, and the market is really tricky, right? It doesn't really, necessarily move right away, right? So, normally you'd enter like on a break to the downside here, and never happened. You got an inside bar, but still holding this resistance. Finally, this one, you probably would have thought, if you took this one, you probably would have thought, oh, this one's going to work. And then it came back in again, right? And then finally, red bar, inside red bar, break, pause, down, right? So now, from here, from this 321, you only had to wait 1, 2, 3, 4 days, for it really to kick in. And then boom, all the way down to, wow, look at that, all the way down to 253. So a couple days of patience, right? Especially with a vertical, a couple days of patience, right? This setup really worked, right? Cool. Want to show you one more. This happened on, I've got it here, I think the July 2nd. Okay. Now this I want to show you is a the bullish reversal, right? So you have a big red bar followed by another big red bar, right? Everybody's getting super bullish. I mean, super bearish, right? Okay, time to get in, and not so fast, right? So this basically is a deliberation bar. Ends up being a reversal hammer too, right? And it closed right at the close right here, right? And then kind of not as dramatic as the last one, but look what happened, right? Inside bar, and then finally a break to the upside, and then let's say you waited here, you traded the break of this bar right here, 312 all the way up to 328. So even there a 16-point move over 3 days, right? And then it kind of calmed down and all that stuff. Your stop could have been here, like at the 200-day moving average. As soon as you got below, it could have gotten out. That type of thing. So not a super common setup, but they do happen. And so that one on 822 is really a classic example right there. So pretty neat stuff. Hopefully that helps a little bit. And if at this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, feel free to put those in the chat window, and we'll get to those. And hopefully we'll try to wrap up around 10 o'clock so everybody get a good night's sleep and be well rested for their Friday. Okay. Net Friday, what's going on, buddy? Mohammed, how are you? Good to see you. Manoj, what's up? Buzbindub, good to see you. Hello. Shirley, how are you? As always, good to see you. Harvey, what's going on, man? Kyle, how's it going, buddy? How is NEO looking? Let's take a look. So, good question, right? So, with Tesla gapping down after market, is NEO, NEO's going to be like, supposedly the big competitor, right, of Tesla. And so, Chinese, electric vehicle company. Let's see what it's doing after hours first. See if it's, not really moving down in sympathy. If anything, you might get some flow into this one, right? So this one looks like gave you an inside 60 anchor too. So it's one that you could look at the open definitely, because I think there's going to be some action around it based on this, the Tesla news. I mean, technically, from here all the way up here, you've had like this, kind of this falling wedge, bull flag. So this one, NEO looks really interesting, right? So, at the open, watch that $9.61 level, and see if it could get to $9.92, right? So that type of thing. So keep an eye on NEO there. Great one to look at. In fact, I'm going to add that to the 60 anchor watch list. Let's see. So give me 1 second. NEO. That'll be a cool one. Good one. All right. Let's see what else we got. Nathan, what's going on, man? Tesla. So we pretty much saw that, but let me just zoom in on Tesla real quick here, just so you can see what it's doing after hours. It does help when you have like these kind of big gaps, right? Obviously, we could trade the 15-minute orb on it tomorrow. Look here on the 30, look, it hit right there, volumetric support, kind of came in there after hours. The 15, it's got its 200 moving average right here, so that is a potential target, in the morning, 305. And then what you want to do is you go to the daily, and if it will, right, kind of zoom. Let me go to the bar chart and just kind of see if there's any major, kind of areas, right? So there's a gap above it, right? So that's probably not going to happen. Below, remove that. Below, remove that. So this 291 is support here, volumetric. So that is a possibility for Tesla. It's going to be gapping down to about here, right? So your next level here, again, volumetric level is 306. So look for that as a potential, turning point. Or if it breaks through that, then you could see your downside stuff. So it's always good to see what kind of support and resistance levels you're gapping into to see if there's a, momentum pivot that it could take out, especially if you're trying to trade like an orb or something like that. So that could be pretty interesting there. So good one. Let's see what else. Net price. Somebody was tweeting today that all Fridays are green. Oh yeah, I saw that in 2019. If true, then tomorrow's another Green Friday. Yeah, we'll see. I already have $8.50 on the S&P futures, so we could get that. Prayer Kid, what's going on, man? Appreciate you joining. It's all good. Appreciate all your tweets today. Great job today. NetFry Rig holding 10,850 this week, and call for 5 cents earning report tomorrow. Cool. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I don't think I've traded Rig before. Maybe one time I've traded it, but yeah, good for you, man. That would be pretty cool. Let's see how they do. Do a fib fan here from here to here. So kind of holding that fib fan line at volumetric support. So yeah, so it looks like it could get some movement for you. Manoj, what's going on, man? SQ, how did that do today? That was on our, I believe that was on the 15 orb list today. So let's see. Yep, there. Okay, so today 15 orb was right here, right? So the 15 orb guys, for anybody just tuning in, that's your opening range bar, opening range break, right? So here's your bar, your opening range bar. You can see why we wait for this bar to form, right? Because look how much craziness happened in those first 15 minutes, right? You don't want to get stuck in there, right? If you've got a smaller time frame. So there's your level right there, at 77.76, and what did it do? Boom, broke above it here at 11 o'clock, and then so went all the way from 77 all the way up to 82. So nice trade right there as it broke volumetric resistance too. You got a nice push to the upside. So square's looking good. If you want to trade it tomorrow, look at the 30 orb, look at your 30-minute bar at the open, and see how a lot of times you get continuation on those. HD, home dip it. Let's see. Justin had a good chart earlier on this one. They basically, found like a pretty good support level, right? You can see this pivot down here. You're at support. So it looks like, is this a double inside day? No, low, no, not quite. So it went just below it, but this was an inside. I believe it was an inside day. High 47. No, not quite. So anyway. It kind of looks anyway. So kind of a pause bar right here. So hopefully it doesn't, if you're long, hopefully you don't see that follow through to the low Bollinger Band to like 180. But if you can get that upside move, this one's definitely one to watch. FedEx, I'm glad you mentioned that. I put that on the that's going to be on the watch list tonight, or at least in general. So if you recall from the $50,000 challenge, we were watching this one. Elliott Wavewise was really interesting, right? Had the subwave 1, 2, 3. And I was looking at wave 4. We shorted it here and made some money on that actually to the downside. Then it came back up, right? That was a gap fill right here. And so we have, we're in the cloud. And to me it looks weak because I'm still expecting this wave 5 move down. It's just kind of been consolidating. It gave us a nice inside hanging man right here pattern. And so if this breaks to the downside, you could see some downward momentum. Your 50 moving average is all the way down to 173. So FedEx doesn't like to really tank too much. It does give you these long lower wicks where you think the thing's going to keep going and then it comes back up. So just keep an eye on that. It did that here a couple days ago and then came back up. So just watch those. So make sure you bank your profits. And move your stop to profit. So FedEx gets a little funny with its spreads and can kind of jump around. It usually has kind of low volume on its options. So you might want to consider a vertical. If you want to swing this one. So let's just take a look real quick and see. Yeah, see, the volume isn't really. Look at today's volume was like nothing, right? 100. So it can be a little tough to get in and out. You'd think it'd be bigger. It's a real popular company and famous and all that stuff, but doesn't get a lot of volume. So just be careful trading it. But I think there's a potential to the downside on FedEx. K-Chan, what's going on? Hey, I don't see you video on candlesticks pattern in YouTube. Yeah, I don't really call it in particular like a certain pattern. Like I mention it like a like a dumpling top or a fry pan bottom. Like they're kind of in there somewhere. I've got a list of all the candlestick patterns. If you DM me, I can send you like the full list of all the videos that where I've talked about candlesticks. So if you're interested in seeing those, I can DM you on those. Call Saul, what's going on, man? Hey, man, my pleasure. Harvey, Roku, cool. Yeah, glad you mentioned that. That was a big breakout bar the other day. Here, right? So if you traded the next day, you're at that doji. So that break there, 64.89, nice push to the upside to 67, right? Inside bar. It's trying to break up here, but right now it's probably going to consolidate, right? So you're seeing the 5 MA, very vertical and all that stuff. I'm not saying short it here, but you are overbought on the RSI, and you're at the upper Bollinger Band today. So yesterday I think looked good and tested here the 5 MA and came back up, but it might want to eventually test the 10, right? So the question is does it consolidate and wait till the moving averages catch up, or does it decide to reverse? I don't know. They had pretty stellar results, right? And Roku's strong. So it's a good product, and so we'll see. If you still could get a little bit of a pullback here, or the moving averages could catch up. So it's a tough one to trade right here because it's already broken out the high at the earnings level, and so now you just kind of want to look for for setups, right? But definitely worth keeping an eye on. Shirley, what's going on? Okay, so everybody, obviously anybody new here, feel free to screenshot Shirley's stuff. She always has awesome entries. Let's take a look at V. Oh man, gosh, that was a a long swing trade idea. From when did we talk about that last? Like a month ago, somewhere around earnings. And look what it's done since then. Just like so, Harvey, this is a great example, right? So this is see how it's got this big move up here, right? Next day it broke above, then it consolidated a little bit, kind of came back in. So this kind of reminds me of Roku a little bit. It caught up to that, the mid Celt, and then it kind of went. So kind of like maybe a fallen wedge type thing, and then finally broke back to the upside. So keep an eye on something like that. So Shirley, yeah. So here at Urikiri bar at the upper Bollinger Band. So just be aware of that. It does have it is at volumetric level. So yeah, but it's above it. So it might just take a little more consolidation and then get to your entries there. I'll just draw a fan line from here to here. Cool. What else? Love, LUV. Southwest. Yeah, so we've been kind of keeping an eye on this. Let's see. I was thinking ABC. So I was kind of thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I was looking for A, B, C. So maybe this was the A, and we haven't gotten here yet. So just kind of keep an eye on this. I do think this push up is great. It's got dividends coming up and all that stuff, but just kind of look. Just be careful of this one. I mean, of course, it could be doing like a 1, 2, and then boom, like that. So so just something to keep an eye on. I still think it's got merit to it. On the long side too. So just kind of see what it's doing here. It's looking pretty good actually. So see how it held that fib fan line there. It's kind of working its way up this. So yeah, so I mean definitely look at that. So that looks pretty good. DBD. Diebold Nixdorf Incorporated. Sounds like fun. Yeah, so $2.41 low. Nice penny stock. For $2, it's almost at $10. Yeah, I like your entries there. So that one looks pretty good. I'm not saying that's a top right there, but just kind of observing it at this point. So it looks pretty neat. Lila from Futurama. Liberty Latin America. Cool. What do we got going on back there? Anything? I thought we saw. So it's kind of a high. Love these volumetric levels, right? Almost looks like an inverted head and shoulders, right? So it kind of broke that level at the at the volumetric level. So yeah, so I think your levels look good there. And FTK. Flowtech, sorry. Nice move from 95 cents all the way up to $3, right? So that is looking good too. It's got earnings coming up, so keep an eye on that. But definitely looks really interesting. And Lilac, that looks cool. Oh, very similar. I gotcha. So it's basically the same thing as the other one, but different, different thing. So yeah, very similar. So here, just kind of keep an eye. I like your breakout levels, so it looks pretty good. Muhammad, what's going on? SQ fib retracement. Let's take a look on SQ. Let's see. Sorry, that's 5 minute. Gosh, what a reversal that was. Goodness. Yeah, so here's our daily bar here. Let's just kind of go from high to low on that one. Okay. Yeah, so it's right at the point, the 78.6 retracement of the move today. So yeah, so I like this move, right, all the way from the lows to the highs, and then came back in, right? So you could either look at that as a 78.6, or however you want to draw it. You could draw it from the top, more of like a 28. Let me remove that right there. Hello. Yeah. Nice move there. So yeah, kind of coming over here at the 23.6 retracement. Why didn't that quite work? Let me activate that. Looked better before, didn't it? That's pretty much at that level, so Yeah. So anyway, so there's your your fib. So at least off of this first move. So if this was a wave 1 up, wave 2 usually penetrates a little bit further down. So we just kind of got to see. Square's a relatively difficult stock to trade. Today off the 15 orb was good, but keep an eye on the 30 orb tomorrow. It might continue this reversal off the highs here to the downside, or it might just kind of tag 80.3 somewhere around there and bounce from there. F. Kello, what's going on? Yeah, let's take a look at Baba. Yeah, so Baba, goodness gracious. So that was interesting here off the hourly. You had this, key reversal bar right here, and then some follow through to the downside, and it ended up closing under the VWAP. Overbought on the RSI, right? And nice doji day at the upper Bollinger Band. To me, this looks like you could trade for a bearish reversal on the right setup. It's had earnings, a while ago, several days, several weeks ago. So, obviously a nice push up and all that stuff, but upper Bollinger Band, with oversold RSI, this is a great reversal, just kind of indicator setup. So that looks pretty interesting, right there. The hourly, we've drawn, several pitchforks on this one, and, tried to do a few Elliott wave type analyses on it, but it's been pretty tough. So if this is wave 1, A, B, C, maybe this is wave 2. So if it gets below this 181 level, we could definitely see some further downside movement. So definitely, and then 178, you're looking at a gap fill volumetric, breakdown. So that could be pretty interesting. So generally looks bearish, but it's also holding up pretty well above this area too. So just make sure it's not bull flagging on you. Shirley, awesome list. Yeah, Shirley. No, yeah, you always have the best list. Manoj, awesome. Who's been data and CRM? Cool. Yeah, two kind of related type things. So yeah, that looks pretty good there. We've recently analyzed this. So holding this this trend line here from here to here to here to here, kind of broke down, hit the fib fan line, got above it, now it's holding this trend line again. So so it looks pretty bullish. As long as it holds there, you might see another spike to the upside. Let's look at CRM. CRM, gosh, is an interesting one to trade. It is it goes all over the place, and you can see I've been testing that out. I've got tons of lines. Let's see, I've got the Fibonacci time sequence. So let me just remove that, kind of get some of this mess out of here. I do like that though. It is I do have this old pitchfork here, so hold on. There. Okay, so yeah, it's at the top of a very big pitchfork, right? So from here all the way from, let's see, this is back in October, all the way down to November. It's kind of worked its way back up, and now here it is. It originally pivoted at the top of this pitchfork, kind of came back in. So let's see if it pivots here. This is a key level. If you start seeing like a real push to the downside, it might eventually get down to this 153.20 area. Now, if it breaks out above this level, then you might start seeing some some more activity to the upside. So I'd like to get see if I can find a reaction line that would work. This actually looks pretty good. I've been drawing them all off this middle one, but let me go here to here. I just want to see where that goes. Look at that right there. Okay, so this major pivot right here. So the action-reaction lines, right, are basically by Alan Andrews. What he said. He said it's $1 million technique. Anytime you have it, he believed in the physics of of the market, and so for every action there's a reaction, right? So back here there's an action, right? There was a pivot down. There's a pretty big pivot for CRM, right? And then basically what you do is you find a major kind of turning point here. You could do this in any two major pivots. This just happens to be one where we were working in the past with a pitchfork, and those pitchfork pivots make good action-reaction line pivots too. So all you do is draw your bar, and then you your channel, for instance, you bring it back to this level here, and then you bring it forward again, the equidistant. So for every action, there's a reaction, right? And so here, let's see how it handles. This is to me, this looks like a key level on CRM. So if we start breaking to the downside, then I would look as a potential short on CRM. this is fun, yeah, because I was having fun with doing pitchforks on the RSI, right? So yeah, so if it does break down, if the RSI gets below that level too, that might also give some extra confirmation. So, so that's an interesting one too. Shirley, Square, yeah, good job on, yeah, nice job on Square today, Shirley. That's great. One more, STZ. Yeah, so STZ, good. I'm glad you brought this one up today. Super choppiness. It looks like it was a double inside day. Did it give us a triple inside day? Almost. Okay, so double inside day strategy, right? So if you gap up, you kind of look to for a short to get back in the range, so that would have worked pretty well today. So we gapped up, kind of came back in, got over the 10 MA, and then kind of came back in. So your range there, you might have made a point off of that one, didn't get all the follow through needed. So ended up closing like right at that double inside day range. So this is a very kind of like tight area on this STZ. So if it doesn't give you any further downside, then it might finally, give you that continuation move to the upside. It's got some work to do to get out of this cloud. So it's in a right area to spring right off of that price action right there, then maybe back up. But if not, then you might see a reclaim all the way through this range right here. So STZ, pretty interesting. All right, guys. Peter HK, what's going on, man? You the man. What can I say? Still trying to figure out PLNT. Which one is that? What is that? A cannabis stock or something like that? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Planet Fitness. That's a good one, right? It's a good one, but goodness gracious, look at that. I mean, I don't even know what kind of chart pattern is this, right? That's nuts. So huge gap up, way back down, doji. Big gap up again, then push, right? Breaks that level, then comes back in. Yeah, I'm with you. I can't figure this one out either. And it did all this before earnings, right? And then after, right? So, pretty crazy stuff. But gap fill anyway. And now you've got kind of this this hammer bar here at the mid BB. So just keep an eye on that, and then kind of see what you get from there. Let's see what the 15s are doing. Just kind of this, kind of a whole bunch of nothing. I don't know, craziness, but better to work out there than to trade it, in my opinion, right? So anyway, all right, NetFry, good night, man. And Manoj, thank you. Yeah, kick after the touchdown fire. That's exactly right. So have a good night, NetFry. Appreciate all your help and support. K-Chan, my pleasure. Thanks, everybody. So tomorrow is Friday, so just be aware of Friday Theta. And have a great night. And I will talk to you guys on Twitter tomorrow. And then we'll do another video on Sunday. I've already got one special request for Sunday, so we're going to try to work on that. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.